So we've recently been getting a bunch of small pieces of news for Diablo 4, so I'm going to try to go over all of the new information we've got in the past couple weeks in this video. Starting off with the return of the March of the Goblins event, which will be starting on March 4th, and it'll go to, I think, March 10th. And if you never played March of the Goblins the first time, it's basically just a goblin focus event. There's a lot more goblin spawns. You can get goblin spawns from certain shrines. Goblins can spawn in packs, and then there will also be a reputation track and a bunch of other bags of loot you can get from killing any of these goblins. But we also got some new permanent content coming with March of the Goblins that will exist after the event and for the future of the game. And these new permanent additions is we will be getting some new goblin variants that again will be staying permanently in the game. And all these new goblin variants are going to be giving different types of loot. And if you watch one of my previous videos where we went over the data mined information for this event, we had a bunch of names of specific goblins that we are theorizing may be friendly goblins. That didn't end up being the case. Those names of those goblins are actually all of the new goblin variants. So we have the green tinted Odious Ector and is themed around giving you crafting materials. And then we have the purple Curious Merle who is themed around giving you murmuring obols. So the green one gives you crafting materials. The purple one gives you murmuring obols. We have the Gildan Baron, who is a golden goblin. Obviously, he's going to drop massive amounts of gold. And then we have the diamond colored glittering Prim dropping gems. And if you're lucky, you'll find runes from that goblin as well. You'll probably always get some amount of runes from that goblin, but that goblin is gem fragments and runes. And then we have Gelatinous Cyrus, who will split into smaller versions of themselves when defeated, each dropping a legendary item. Now, I'm not exactly certain how far this goes, but it sounds like as you attack and defeat this goblin, he keeps splitting into more smaller goblins, each dropping legendaries. I'm not sure how much this will continue to happen, but it just seems like you'll be getting just tons of legendary items from this guy. Now, we don't know if you're going to be getting anything else from this goblin besides just the random gold and legendaries. We don't know if there's a chance to get uniques or anything like that. But then we have what's absolutely the craziest goblin I think ever in a Diablo game, which is Fancy Old Frederick, the most prestigious, rewarding, ever elusive goblin of them all. Fancy Old Frederick, this incredibly rare goblin, is well worth hunting for, as it will be guaranteeing a mythic unique item and a resplendent spark. Now, we don't know the actual spawn chances of this thing, presumably absurdly rare, but defeating this goblin will basically be the most rare and lucrative thing in the game, because nothing else in the game really has the possibilities of this. I mean, you have like killing a boss and getting super ultra rare lucky and getting like 2 mythics or something, but finding this goblin is just a guaranteed mythic and a resplendent spark, and you only need 2 sparks to go craft another mythic. So this goblin is going to be absolutely crazy, and I definitely want the developers to do more of this. I want more rare things to go chase, rare items or cosmetics or any other things they add into the game, and then having some super rare way to have a good chance at getting some of this more rare stuff. So having this ultra rare goblin that just guarantees a mythic item and a spark is absolutely crazy. And I think the return of March of the Goblins is actually going to be a pretty well-received event because we're getting all these new goblin variants that are permanent to the game. And then for some potentially sadder news, we have gotten it confirmed that Season 7 will be going on for 2 weeks longer than originally planned, meaning Season 8 will be delayed for 2 weeks. And Rod Ferguson had a tweet about this. Hey everyone, in the spirit of serving the game, not the plan, Season 8 will take a couple weeks longer to bake than we initially anticipated. The team is hard at work on some great updates coming in the next season, so stay tuned. Looking forward to seeing an old friend, in quotations. So this is a bit of a hint at what we're getting. A lot of people at theorizing on who this old friend would be. And since it's in quotations, we don't actually know if it's a friend or not. It could actually be a previous enemy from a previous game or a previous season, or it could actually be someone who's maybe a friend, maybe somebody that's helped us in the past. We don't exactly know, but I think there's 2 things with this delay. It could mean that this season is a bit bigger, or even more specifically, it may have a big overhaul or some new progression system within it, because our last season delay was when we were getting the complete overhaul to our items and the new crafting systems were being implemented. So there is a possibility with that, but there is also the possibility that this is also a bit strategic, because originally Season 8 would have been launching in the early to midpoint in April, and as we now know, both PoE 2 and Last Epoch are seeming to get new updates early or mid into April. I think both of them are going to be earlier on, but this could also make sense for that both of those games are getting updates, so they want to push back back Diablo 4 to give a little bit more room between all of the updates of these games, because that would generally just help Diablo, and it helps all of those other games as well. So people have a bit more time to get through the content of that new game and then jump over to the other one, which is something a lot of ARPG players already do. So I'm very curious to see if this season is also going to have some type of new system. There is the possibility that this is some new type of crafting or progression system. Some people are theorizing maybe it's an NPC that was tied to some of the crafting or progression systems from Diablo 3. So that is a possibility. And then on top of that, we did also get the announcement of our next Campfire chat, which is going to be on March 7th at 11 a.m. PST time. And we'll give a preview of the upcoming 2.2.0 public test realm for the next season. So this is just going to be season 8 on the PTR. Join members of the development team as they reveal how to access and what to expect in the next PTR available to PC Battle.net users. Tune in to learn more about the PTR, balance updates, and more. There will also be a Q&A segment at the end like they've done for pretty much every Campfire chat. Now what's really interesting is we know we're getting a roadmap for 2025. This doesn't say a roadmap anywhere, but it also does say PTR, balance updates, and more. So there is the good possibility that we will be getting the roadmap within this live stream. That's what I originally theorized, that at some point in the next live stream we would be getting it, and it would make sense that we get it now, because if they wait till any longer for some other development live stream that's going to be later into the year, it wouldn't make sense to have only a section of the year as the roadmap. Probably somewhere at the end of this announcement we'll be getting the roadmap, either at the end or right at the start, to give us a glimpse of everything we'll be getting, and then we'll get all the specific information on season 8. Also make note that we're not sure if we will be getting the season theme in this PTR, because even though in season 7 we got the full season theme and powers in the PTR, that was the first season that's happened. We don't know if future PTRs are always going to have the season theme within them. The developers have said that they don't generally want that to be the case, but if it's some big new power system, they'll probably want to balance it. So it just really depends on what season 8 is going to be focused around. And the last piece of news is we did get a developer Q&A on the official Diablo channel on YouTube. They just went around and asked some of the developers some questions from the community, some things like a possible loot filter, updates to the armory, and a few other things. If you want to go watch a video, it's only a little over 7 minutes. They give some decent answers and maybe a little bit of a glimpse at some updates coming in the future. But that's pretty much all the new news we have for Diablo 4. This next week is seeming to have a ton of new information on Diablo 4, especially because of the developer livestream, potentially also showing us a 2025 roadmap. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.